Hey guys, it's Darwin. So today I wanted to talk about the 5 pieces of gear that I think you should leave at home if you're planning to do a thru hike. Alright, so there's a lot of great gear out there that you should definitely be bringing if you're planning on doing a long distance trail. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 items that I see a lot of people add to their gear or maybe even consider taking when they're going to do something like a long distance trail. So not only is this gear that I think is really unnecessary to take on a long distance trail, but also a lot of items that I saw in hiker boxes when I was out on the Appalachian Trail in 2015 and 2016, so you can leave this stuff at home. Okay, so the number one thing that I seen in a lot of hiker boxes, especially in Georgia when I was starting my thru hike of the Appalachian Trail, was a trowel. So this thing has been a standard for backpacking for years and years and years. Obviously, it's a good idea to dig a hole to put your crap in. However, these things are unnecessary. Why are they unnecessary? Because you can use either a stick or the end of your trekking pole to dig a hole. So the trowel is kind of a pointless item. It's just adding weight to your gear setup and taking up space in your pack. I'd probably say the trowel is the number one item that I've seen in hiker boxes over anything else. So do yourself a favor and leave that guy at home. Number 2, again, in a lot of hiker boxes in Georgia, is extra cookware. So something like a bowl or an extra cup or a plate, you don't need that stuff. Just use a regular cook pot like the cook system that I use. I use a Snow Peak Light Max stove and a Snow Peak 700 milliliter mug, and I use it for everything. So I use it as my cup, I use it as my cook pot, I use it as my bowl, for everything. You don't need a plate, you don't need a bowl, you don't need a cup, you don't need fine china, just something simple that you're going to use day in, day out. So before you go out to REI and buy all of that extra super fun, cool backpacking gear, just get yourself a really good cook pot and leave it at that. Number 3 is a big cutting tool. You don't need a huge Rambo knife, a machete, an axe, a saw. You don't need that stuff out on a long distance trail. In the beginning of the trail, you will see a lot of people with this massive knife hanging off the side where they look like they're Crocodile Dundee. The reality of it is you're always only gonna ever need a small little pocket knife to be able to cut string and cheese, maybe to pop some blisters every once in a while. So having this big massive knife that weighs like a pound is totally worthless. There's no point to it. There's no need for it. If you want to go be like a survivalist and a bushcrafter out in the Canadian bush, awesome. That's not a long distance trail and you just don't need it. As far as a small axe or a saw, you shouldn't need to cut wood in the forest anyways. Grab twigs and sticks from off the ground if you're gonna make a fire. There was never a time on the AT or the CDT or the Arizona Trail that I ever needed an axe or a saw to chop down a tree. Now a lot of people have that mentality, well, what if, just in case. For 6 months out on the AT, I never needed anything like that. I never needed a big knife to protect myself from an animal. I never needed to kill something. I never needed to chop down a tree. So leave those big cutting items at home. Just bring a small pocket knife. It's gonna take up less room, it's gonna weigh less, and it's gonna be more efficient than having this big ass knife. Speaking of knives, number 4 is a gun or weapons. People, please, for the love of God, do not bring a gun on the trail. That has to be one of the most common questions asked to thru hikers. Well, are you gonna bring a gun? No, I'm not going to bring a gun. Why do you need a gun on a long distance trail like the AT? You don't. You're not gonna hunt anything. You're not gonna kill anything. There was never a time when I was on the trail and I felt unsafe like I needed to protect myself with a gun. If you feel unsafe, simply get away from the situation, but don't carry a gun. Number 1, they're super heavy and bulky, so why would you want to carry something that's gonna weigh like 5 pounds and take up a ton of room? Number 2, think about the people that you're hiking around. You're gonna scare the hell out of people when someone sees a huge pistol strapped to your chest or your hip. where you look like a gunslinger. So leave a gun at home. There's no need for one. It's just gonna be overkill and you're gonna scare the hell out of the rest of us. So number 5 is kind of a controversial one, and that is bear spray. So this is AT specific, and from what I hear, also PCT specific. You don't need bear spray. Especially on the AT, the only type of bear that you're gonna run into is a black bear. And those things are scared of you way more than you're scared of them. Super skittish, they're gonna run away. You don't need bear spray. That is another huge item that you see a ton of in hiker boxes at the beginning of a trail. People bring bear spray with them, thinking that they'll need it to protect themselves from bears, and then realize, what bears? Yes, there are bears out on the trail, but you don't see a lot of them. And whenever you do see them, they're pretty damn far away. Now, if you're on something like the Continental Divide Trail and you're farther up north, yes, there are grizzlies. You might want to carry some bear spray for some of the states, but still you don't need it for the entire trail. So before you get out on the AT and you stay in your first hostel and someone gives you the trail name Bear Bait, which yes, there are a lot of hikers with that trail name because they brought so much bear protection, leave that stuff at home. You're not gonna need it. Alright guys, so what are some of the pieces of gear that you think that you should be leaving at home during a long distance hike? Leave me some comments in the comment box below and let me know your thoughts. If you haven't got a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I'm posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes. So go check those out if you haven't already. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. As always guys, thanks for watching.